They also beat, I believe they also beat
Honor.
Or no, they lost it. They lost it to Ape. That's who it was. So they have 2 wins and 1 loss against, the top echelon of teams. Now, we need to go through op brands. It's Kafe. So, Thatcher.
Typical stuff.
Wow. Cool. Second ban, probably a hard breacher, I would imagine, from late registration. Probably Ace or Hibana. Maybe Maverick. We saw Thatch Maverick on Clubhouse. That's also not too uncommon on Kafe. And it will be Thatch Mav, which means the first defensive ban will probably be Cade.
Yeah, we've got the mirror image of the Clubhouse map we saw earlier, and that could come through in our third ban if indeed we do see the Kaid ban. We saw Mira ban on Clubhouse as well, a possibility here on Kafe, but instead we're going to see the Valkyrie come out first. Now, this last ban should probably be that Kaid, because now you've left it in the hands of Waverunners to make this mandatory ban at this point. But maybe, we won't see that. Who really knows at this point? Waverunners, they could defy expectations. Yes, they will. So they're going to take off the Wamai, which, all things considered, that it is a normal ban. I mean, that's something you see on Kafe all the time, especially for that top floor. Wamai is a strong consideration you want to take off the board, but in this context, is that really the right move? You've now left the Electro Claws up on the board, and now starting on the attack, it's going to be late registration who have the responsibility to clear those out first.
And Jonah, lest we forget, it's not just the Cade that is up. Is the Cade in conjunction with the Mira?
True.
Now, the Mira has been 6th picked off of, so it's not something that late registration are going to have to worry about just yet. Likely thankful for that. It's going to be Melusi instead from Scams. Melusi, who received that recent nerf where if you're in range of the Banshee, instead of just always being, in that weird flipped out state, it's closed, you step in range, it opens up, and you can shoot it. If you hit it right in the center, you can shoot it. So that was a very welcome change. And now you got to be a little bit more careful where you put your Banshees. That spot that he just put it in, that Scams just put it in, that's kind of a very common spot that you're going to see, that common style, where it's going to be like right behind a corner, not just sitting out in the open. So when it catches someone, it's a little bit by surprise, and you force them to actually physically turn around to shoot it away from where the defenders are playing. Of course, you'll still see some important Banshees like there on red for your coat check player if there's one there, but I doubt there's going to be any coat check presence considering they fully reinforced off that red wall. So, late registration though, they're bringing that Flores. Flores is something we didn't really see a lot of on day one. We saw Slaughterhouse bring it, and that was actually the only team that brought it, so I'm definitely very thankful that late registration are pulling it out as well.
Yeah, we'll get to see those Rotero drones, as they're known, in play. And we're also going to see, that AR-33 Thatcher's gun, but at this time in the hands of course, Flores instead. We'll see what they can, how they can work around that. And of course, you've got a lot of intel in his hands as well. Not only do you have those Rotero drones, but you've got, those 2 default drones as well that everybody has bringing around this map. So a lot of potential here from Arrow. Curious to see exactly what he's going to manufacture on this initial clear, as it seems he's going to initially drone out Reading Room and see what they're dealing with on this second floor. Makes sense because the rest of the team has already worked their way in on this top floor. One player, though, is eager to challenge. That is Silent, who is now creeped up rather aggressively up the red stairs and is now working their way up towards the long bar.
They don't know.
That's going to be one player. They have no idea, but a couple of shots will miss. Thankfully, won't miss the second time, and Giddy will be the first player to fall. Fish nearby, but not quite close enough to play the initial trade, is now going to have to get aggressive, but no, a perfectly timed swing right off the drone, and Silent will get a double. Arrow, thankfully, will get the coverage for late registration and will respond with a trade, but that's a 2-for-1, losing your Zofia and your Sledge, and when vertical play is everything, that is certainly a trade in the favor of the Waverunners.
That was a smart play from Silent, swinging off the drone too soon for the intel to be called, and Lovely, just sitting right in front of the engine, is going to catch Bear off guard on the mining window. A 2 versus 4 now for Vivid and Arrow to clutch up. and Waverunners have fallen back to the site. Lovely knows he no longer needs to play upstairs. Sufficient time has been wasted, sufficient man count gained, and Arrow's still got 3 Rotero drones in pocket. He'll use one to try and scope out Whiskey and VIP. He'll spot one Banshee in the middle of the floor, and he'll send it into VIP to maybe hunt down Niccolo. That'll flush Niccolo out of position momentarily, but not into the line of sight of any other attacker, so he can pretty much still play safe. And Vivid, I don't think, saw him in that corner. He's checking the wrong one. The fire, though, will reveal the position of the Mozzie, and Arrow finds a second onto Lovely, and just like that, the man count has been evened up, but there is only 20 seconds remaining. Late registration are pressed for time, and they're still sending these drones in, maybe looking to open up this freezer wall using it. That could be a smart play, but just tucked to the left is going to be Scams, but what? Scams is going to look away from the wall curiously, and Vivid is eager to find that kill. Vena, though, he's got the C4 lineup. It'll go out. Will it deny the plant? In fact, it'll find both the remaining players. Waverunners nearly let the lead slip away, but the C4 still comes in clutch, and Waverunners salvage round number 1.
Wow, that was an interesting turn of events in the closing seconds. Late registration, they certainly brought it back, equalized it to a 2v2 and then a 2v1 because Scams was kind of caught with his pants down in the middle of the freezer, not quite knowing where to go. But when it came down to it, they just could not get the C4 shot out of the air. We saw the bullets go down. That was their only shot they had at saving the round at that point. It was either getting a lucky wall bang on that player before the C4 could actually go down or shooting the C4 itself. AimLab's not quite helping enough there. Need to get a couple more shots down, and that's going to give the round to Waverunners there. Excellent job overall. Of course, it got dicey in those closing seconds, but pretty much for the entire round, Waverunners were in the upper hand. They had a really good roam. It started with a great play from Silent, who found a double kill on that top floor before being flushed out. Not only a double kill, but removing both of those soft breachers, Giddy and Fish, who were hoping to really apply that vertical pressure onto the kitchen that is often mandatory for any kitchen attack, but was not allowed to happen simply because of those perfect early picks from Silent. Silent will switch off to the Aruni now and give the Jaeger roll over to Vena. So a little bit of a change here on Waverunners as they head over to Mining and Dining, a more unusual site for round number 2.
Yeah, definitely the least picked on this map, but one with some of the highest win rates just because it's a little bit of a pocket strat that you're usually pulling out. Teams normally don't expect to be attacking this site. And they've got the Frost. There's a lot of windows on this site, most of which you're going to normally be vaulting through. Mainly that the mining window and the red window. Put frost mats under one. Is a frost mat on the other? No, okay, so just that one. So the frost mats are dedicated elsewhere. Let's see if we can find them. They're not... Okay, there's... Oh, no. I missaw that. Well, while we were looking for those, though, Lovely is just going to straight up peek the mining window, and he's going to catch Fish off guard. So he does get his 1-for-1, but Giddy will respond onto Silent, and now your Aruni is dead, and what was a 1-for-1 has now become a 1-for-2, and Waverunners will be on the back foot early on.
Good change of pace here for late registration as they take the upper hand for the first time in this map. Looks like Bear spotted out one, but the wall bang cannot quite connect the headshot onto Vena that they were looking for. But Giddy will be able to make that pretty meaningless as the kill over to Scams is found, and these last two players are left alone on this second floor. Niccolo has a good bit of intel to work with, and a C4 will go up, but that floor is not soft destructible. Niccolo finding out the hard way and wasting a crucial piece of utility, especially in this 2vx situation. A beautiful nade from Giddy right onto Vena, who had no idea that was coming through. Niccolo has a response. A good headshot onto Arrow is found, but now a miracle is needed for the Pulse to pull this one out. A 1 versus 3, and he finds himself in an awkward position on the white stairs on this top floor, but in doing so, he has given up control of Dining, and the plant is now going down. Niccolo hoping to retake it, but cannot quite get past the crossfire that late registration had set up. They will take round 2.
Good clear from late registration. I think Waverunners maybe getting a little bit too over-aggressive. Lots of swinging. Lovely swinging the mining window, getting his 1-for-1. Silent getting aggressive, though, not working out. And we saw Scams die wide peeking the cocktail double, which was a little bit curious. And all late registration had to do was sit and wait. Wait for the defense to come to them. They were more than happy to. Once those 3 kills were found, it completely opened up the site. Last 2 players were far and away off of mining. And once they get that kill out of the White Stairs player, they know it's completely free. Niccolo has no choice but to try and recover something on the top floor. But he's spotted by 2 separate drones, and now he knows, I can no longer go for this. I can't take 3 fights with the if they're holding upstairs. But all the meantime, they know he's by White. And that's on the opposite side of the map from the push. Vivid is already in the bomb site, being covered by Bear. Plant goes down. There is no hope for Niccolo. So, score has been tied up 1-1. And finally, on the top floor bomb site, on the reading bomb site, we're going to be seeing this Mira come out to help facilitate that top floor hold.
Yeah, first time we'll see the Mira coming out now. Clearly versatile with these operator selections is Vena, who's been switching off from now the Jaeger to the Mira, putting the Jaeger back in Silent's hands. Will be picking up this very essential role on this top floor. Usually we see them in pretty default spots, one exactly where it is going down right now here facing Freezer from this close corner, and one usually over on that wall by C3, but instead we're going to see one here in Bathroom, holding down this angle towards the new Balk drop. That's going to be interesting to hold because that could quickly be taken if there's no hold on the white hallway. But as we see that deployable shield placed there as well, you should be able to get that support to prevent late registration from quickly just sprinting on through, barreling into that bathroom, and removing Silent from this position. Early round now, as we see late registration begin, at least their early clear, but likely it's going to be entering from piano, working their way across, because this is pretty standard stuff for a reading room defense.
Oh, Arrow will narrowly miss out on the feet of one operator. He'll send a Rotaro drone to try and clear this utility. There's a mute jammer in the way, but he'll avoid it, and there you go. Down goes the shield for free. That is the power that Flores holds. He can bypass those ADSs, those Wamai and those drones are honestly not that loud, so you might not expect it coming. They're a little bit hard to hit when they're in the air too, and they become indestructible. He is certainly a very powerful operator, and despite having the mirror window, Vena is still going to get clapped. Remember, I told you, Fish has no fear. He has no qualms about peeking a mirror window, and he knows he can win the fight. Bear still on the white flank watch. He'll find Silent trying to retake something, and that's a 3 versus 5 for late registration as they continue to clear the top floor. And Vivid, lurking on the new balcony, finds Scams underneath Heaven. Giddy now opening the floor. Someone is trying to take that fight through the floor. I believe it was Lovely with his Aruni, but he'll only succeed in damage onto Giddy, leaving the sledge continue to go to work. Fish now on White Stairs looking to push down. He's got Niccolo holding the angle. The Goyo will peek though. He'll find the first kill for Waverunners. A minute left, and despite that kill though, late registration still have this round firmly in their control.
Yeah, Niccolo and Lovely just need to hold this down and relax. They don't want to throw their lives away like 2 of their teammates just did in an attempt to regain that advantage, and they're going to have to use what utility they have effectively. Unfortunately, without a C4 in hand, no way to deny this plant from Vivid, and great coverage from Bear denies Niccolo from just sprinting right on in. Lovely, 1 HP, will be swiftly removed from Bear as he swings around and checks that angle towards that mining double door. Great attack there by late registration, just an good early pick from Fish, then another found by Bear, and it all just came down to the Waverunners hoping to bring it back, hoping to recover that momentum, but instead of playing for a simple trade, they kind of got a little bit too aggressive, something that we see a lot in more amateur Siege, when their teams are just trying to desperately recover a disadvantaged situation that they've been placed in, but rather than recover it, only further the deficit and that hole that the other team has dug themselves in. So a good attempt there from Waverunners, but a couple of aggressive fights will result in that round loss. Late registration cleaning things up since that first round. They'll take 2 in a row.
And again, we saw, like you had mentioned, Waverunners getting over aggressive. How many kills did we see from late registration where they were just waiting? They just sat there. First kill, Fish. He swung the mirror window. He waited for the mirror to peek. Head gone. Bear sitting on the AC unit watching White. All he had to do was wait and watch the angle. Vivid holding down Nubalk. All he had to do was wait. And Bear on the final coverage. He just had to wait for that Goyo to push in because the Goyo didn't have C4. Waverunners so far throughout the last 2 rounds that they have lost, and even in that near recovery late registration had in round number 1, they've just been running right into the attacker's line of fire. So, you know, stop doing that. They're going to be going for a cigar hold now. They've got a shield, they've got mute jammers, ADSs set up as well, so late registration have a bit of a slog when it comes to that early round and gaining that cigar control to safely open red wall.
We're actually seeing the 4th site from Waverunners. They started on kitchen, then went to mining, reading, and now they are on bar and cocktail. We have seen a lot of action on this top floor, but we haven't actually seen this site as the defensive site of choice for Waverunners here. So late registration, they don't have to go very far to actually get to the objective, unlike the previous rounds, but they still have a lot of utility to clear on the way. We're going to see scams drop down and actually hope to possibly get aggressive on this window here towards this mining balk, but Bear is not going to get aggressive either. Again, sitting back and waiting because Waverunners are showing that aggression, and Silent is once again possibly tempting to swing a couple of angles. That's late registration's plan right now. It is sit back and wait. It worked in the last 2 rounds. They're hoping it works again, but when it comes to pushing out Silent, if the Jaeger plays this right, it's going to be up to late registration to actually force the issue. We're going to see Giddy now sledge open this stage window. Silent now springs into action, sees the head, but can't quite do it. Caught in that vaulting animation, and Giddy will make quick work of the Jaeger. Minute 30 now remaining, as that did take a good bit of time to actually get done, but still a good early pick and a great fragger to take off the board.
And again, what did late registration do? They established the angles, and they watched and they waited, knowing that Silent would push the window. Jaeger moves up, and he's ignorant of the upside-down rappel. That angle is not going to work in his favor, but there is only a minute left, and late registration are just now dropping red, but it seems like Fish might be aware of scams down below, playing for that C4. There's another player downstairs supporting him. It might sound like, I'm not quite sure, I can't make out the silhouette, so my clean feed is a little bit blurry. But Scam's pre-firing around, they know he's in red 90. Fish will continue to just hold angles, but late registration are going to have to pick up the pace, especially now that they've lost Arrow. It's a 4v4 with only 40 seconds left, and still all the walls are closed. There's a man still in bathroom, and the defenders are holding firm. Nicolo is looking to swing on the piano, but there's plenty of people starting to swarm in on the angles. He's going to back off over towards Pallets, but there's Fish with the response onto Lovely. Down goes the Aruni, one of those site players. Nicolo now holding up inside of Freezer. The sledge coming from bathroom and Whitehall, making sure that Pixel can't be retook. But the C4, wow! Vivid is just going to swing right through it. Giddy will find another one, and Vena is stuck inside of Cocktail. Giddy with the white play will make the right moves and give late registration the round.
A perfect display of why late registration is going to be a team to fear in Group B. Initially, they came into the round with the plan that won them the 2 previous. Sit back and wait for Waverunners to swing. And although it looked like they might do that, Silent was definitely getting antsy. We saw Nicolo tempting a swing or 2 here and there. Waverunners adapted, and they did not make the same mistake. Late registration, it took them far longer than they would have liked, but at that time was because they had to adapt in the middle of the round. They realized eventually that the sit back and wait strategy, it was no longer going to be effective, and they had to force the issue. Not only did they do that, but they took perfect, aggressive fights at the right time, and they got the kills as needed. We saw Nicolo get cut down in the freezer. He did get the kill with the C4, kind of at the same time that Vivid's bullet kind of took him right on out. But again, it just came down to how quickly late registration were able to spring into action when that 15-second mark hit. We saw Giddy, he took control of bathroom just as Nicolo left, pushed up towards Pallets, pushed up Whitehall, and immediately had that crossfire on Cocktail that they needed, and that won them the round. A great mid-round adaptation, and Waverunners, although they did enter the round with a better mindset, they changed the way they wanted to play it, it wasn't enough to stop late registration from making it happen.
That swing from Vivid was really funny too.
Yeah.
It's like he heard the C4 rip and he was too close to the door where he was like, all right, I'm dead. I'm taking this full out with me. He just wide swung. And I mean, it worked. That's actually a fun fact. The first round that late registration have won in which there was no plant. Vivid had planted in both of their other 2 victories. But now it's kitchen, and there is an echo, which means that there is a bakery hold. Late registration don't look like they're too worried about it. They're going for your standard top-down clear. With how late into the round that registration got, this Echo could come into play, depending on whether or not they speed it up. I think now they know that Waverunners have wised up to their strategy of watching and waiting and won't give them those aggressive fights anymore, so maybe late registration will finally see them play that aggressive game to match Waverunners.
We do see a little bit of aggressive positioning from Niccolo, just trying to make sure no drones can come down those brown stairs and no intel can come at their fingertips there. Same for Lovely. I mean, we just saw him walk up the white staircase and pre-fire an angle, but Fish, when that Zofia, was enough to scare off the Aruni back towards the pretty standard position here in VIP. A couple of ADSs to assist this hold, and something that normally the attackers have to take a good bit of time to deal with, especially if you want to go for these freezer executes, what looks like late registration may be gearing up for. Right now, it's all about the vertical play, however, as Giddy uses that breaching hammer appropriately and tries to open as much of this site as possible. No one on Waverunners is willing to challenge this, though, as they are all relocating either towards Big Bakery, towards Whiskey Bar, or just towards the other side of the site, as they want no part to deal with Giddy and now his 6 frags that he's been able to find so far. 50 seconds remain, and we're going to see some utility dump coming in from Arrow, that to assist the Rotero drones from dropping on in and clearing out any bit of utility that's remaining.
Sees that shield up on the little bunker, and Scams is just waiting and watching. If someone drops into his line of sight, he'll probably win that fight, especially with the SMG-11 at such close range. He will continue to send out those toxic gas canisters, of which he has one left in the pocket. The nades attempting to come in, they'll get caught by the ADSs, and the Rotero drones so far have been unsuccessful. A nade will get actually detonated in the site, but again, it does not clear this shield. More stuns come through, and Scams is not going to fall off. He's actually going to lose the fight to Vivid. That's not something I expected. Echo Drone is going to get taken out as well, but that's only the first of 2. Giddy will find one frag. Niccolo with another on to Bear. Here's the Yokai Drone, but it gets taken out, and the plant will be resumed from Vivid. Here's the flank from the Jaeger, but it's caught by Arrow. Brilliant watch from the Flores. Lovely is down, meaning it's up to Benna in a 1 versus 3 post plant. The clock has started. Giddy is still above, and Arrow in the site. Sorry, no, that's actually Bear. We'll finish him off. Actually, no, it was Giddy. Bear down the other player. Giddy dropping the hatch to finish off the Echo. Will give late registration their 4th round and their 3rd round in a post plant.
Really good stuff from late registration again. I mean, they are tunnel visioned on that objective, but it's working for them, right? They're getting those entry frags they need. They're opening up the site just like they need to. They're doing a great job clearing out that utility. We're seeing Arrow be really good with those Rotero drones to make that happen as well. Not only taking out a good bit of utility, but forcing defenders to relocate at any given moment. And when it comes down to those Yokai drones, making sure the defense cannot just sit back and wait is quite important, especially when a C4 could always just come lobbing over that wall like we saw in round number 1. Late registration are not going to allow it to happen again. They claim their 4th round in a row, and they look very clean. Almost as if every single round, they are understanding more and more how to deal with this Waverunners defense. And for the last round of their attack, well, we're going to see how they deal with another reading room and dining hold that Waverunners really do not want to go back upstairs or towards mining, as neither of those went particularly well.
10 seconds remaining.
Late registration, it seemed like that first round was like a feeler round, right? Like the patented Wichita Wolves feeler round, and then
yeah,
they've just creamed them ever since. That last round too, I really thought Scams was going to win the fight on the drop. Like that was what the entire position was for. It's wait for them to drop freezer hatch and then kill them while they're in the air because they shouldn't be able to shoot back. And then Scams whiffed, and it turned out Vivid could shoot back. He just dropped through. I think it's just Scams didn't expect them to drop through the gas. So that was a ballsy play from Vivid. But hey, it worked out. He got the plant down in the end, actually, too. So we're back to the Mira setup. Last time we saw this Mira setup, Fish stood in front of the Mira and dared Vena to peek him and still won the fight because Fish is just, he's just a different breed of human. Once again, late registration are going to start their standard clear. There is no one in Pixel, so it's not something that the attackers have to worry about, a fact that they will soon be aware of. And I imagine that their clear is going to be very similar. You're going to go ahead, start with piano presence, make sure this mirror window is either being watched or disabled, and walk up the long bar to take out the cocktail players. There's the Rotera drone, and there you go. There goes the shield. Once again, no utility burn needed, just a single drone from Arrow.
Yeah, Waverunners just haven't quite been able to stop the efficiency of this clear. They've been strong with a good bit of time waste, and that's certainly going to help. A nice play C4 from Vena, that's going to say goodbye to Giddy, and remove a large part of the vertical potential. That is a very good pick to get so early in the round, and it's going to make late registration, I'd argue, even slowed down further with only 90 seconds left to go. Arrow should have gotten that kill to Silent because he was far over aggressive on that angle, but thankfully, with the pressure being applied from Piano as well, that's going to force Silence to tuck tail and run right back into Arrow's waiting arms. So they recovered that kill, but only 60 seconds remain, and they haven't even taken control of this top floor quite yet. Waverunners are not as antsy as before, and Vena knows that they should not be peeking Fish, who is likely just going to be sitting and waiting. The danger now is these X-Kairos pellets, but a mute jammer is going to prevent those from going off, but a cover of a flash will force the remaining defenders to rotate on down, considering only 40 seconds remain, and they can give up this vertical control. But now, the onus is on the late registration team here. They need to get something going, and they have very little time to do it.
They've got about 30 seconds, and they've only got 3 breaching charges from Fish to work with, and those are neither enough nor efficient. It's a pretty big time commitment to have to put all of those on the floor and detonate them. But Bear is just going to find the long angle. He'll cut down Niccolo, but there's your primary planter getting cut down on the site doorway. But Bear is going to go for the plant. Or sorry, he's going to go for the pickup. Vivid, I'm not sure if he's going to be the planter once again. He will be. There is no C4, though, so he won't be susceptible. Lovely will finish him off, but Arrow trays him out from above, but here's the flank from Fish! Nobody's watching Red 90, and it ends up being the final nail in the coffin for Waverunners. Late registration off a solo play from Fish and some great coverage by the supporting staff around Vivid will get their 5th round and secure a 5-1 attacking half on Kafe.
The one positive is Scam's got an assist, so that's fun. Go Scams. Not going to be 0-0-7.
The small victories.
Yeah, especially when you're against a team like late registration. I mean, it's kind of rude to say it's a learning experience because that's just cruel. But Waverunners just have not shown that they can pull out a round. They've shown, just like we saw in our first series, they've shown moments of greatness. They've shown moments where they've had really good decision making, they've had good coordination, and they've been able to stop either the immediate entry or the late push, or they had a good attempt at a retake. They've had good elements here and there, but they have not been able to chain them together. Right then, when they had a perfect early hold on that top floor, they could not chain together a simple on-site hold, even with a man advantage. That is something you're going to have to clean up. It's reading room after all. It's not the top floor site. Eventually, you do have to rotate down, and when you do, you still have to take a couple of gunfights and find a way to stop the plant. Everything was going in their favor. Everything. But the one thing they did not account for was Fish on the flank. They did not account for Vivid not getting killed, but just getting downed and able to get rezzed. They did not count for several things, and they could not adapt mid-round. They only found 1 round, and it was 6 rounds ago in the opener. Late registration have had their number ever since, and I mean, this is a momentum game as it's ever been, and I don't think this is going to stop anytime soon, Harrison.
Yeah, late registration right now. They hold most of, if not all, the cards. Waverunners are actually employing the exact same operator lineup we saw from the attack of late registration, down to a T, while Waverunners are choosing to forego the Mira and forego the Goyo. Slightly different. Decided to bring the Cave on this top floor defense, an operator that we only saw from Waverunners when defending Kitchen. Giddy making sure that he wants those freezer walls closed for as long as possible. There is no IQ, so if Waverunners want to deal with it, they'll have to send a nade in and hope that nade finds it, or go below and try and find it with the naked eye. Actually, that's interesting. Giddy, oh, okay, Giddy has cated the cocktail rotate wall so that Hibana can't flush him out of C1, C2. I like that. That's kind of smart. But we're now a minute 35 left in the round, and Waverunners have not even started to clear Pixel.
They're taking quite a bit of time here, and they haven't cleared much of this utility at all. Bear is still supported by several ADSs and the Aruni Gate, which is just so much projectile denial. You still have the Electro Claws in play, not only on this freezer wall, but like you said, that cocktail rotate wall as well. Scams? Okay, so he'll put those down on the correct wall.
I thought they all hit the windowsill.
No, not quite. So thankfully he's in a good position to get that open, but you've got to do a bit more than that. You've got a couple of kills to find. Silent hoping to do so by swinging on in through the heaven window, and that'll work out. At least the kill onto Giddy is found, but Arrow not only finds one onto Lovely, but removes Silent as well. With the hype unit players down, it's going to be up to Niccolo to really bring this back. He finds one, scams with another, his first kill on the map, and Arrow is the last player standing. Looks like his position is known as a couple of pre-fires come his way, and Niccolo, a beast with the SMG-11, is in a perfect position to get a pre-fire of his own. A great way to finish that round from Waverunners. They get that bomb down, and they make quick work, a nice execute from them.
Yeah, Waverunners didn't have much of a clear leading into even the last minute 15, and so they decide, all right, enough of stalling. We need to make a play. And what's the play? It's a hot breach into heaven, which nets Silent a kill. Sure, Arrow gets a kill, on the other side of the map, but in comes the flood into Long Bar. Just right through the cigar doorway, nothing stopping Niccolo and his teammate Scams even finding a kill, starting that plant, and Waverunners overwhelm the site players of Late Registration and make sure that the rest of them can't come back to the site. So I like that mid-round adjustment from Waverunners, and Late Registration decide, you know what? We're not going to do that again. They're going to go down to Kitchen, and we've got a bit of an interesting setup. So, obviously, Jaeger, stock standard. Giddy on the Cade, obviously, you need Cade on Kitchen. You want to make sure those walls stay closed. It's the other three. It is the combination of Smoke, Echo, and Tachanka. All three denial operators being played by Late Registration, and especially with how slow Waverunners was last time up until they made that blitz play, Late Registration are planning to stall out the time for as long as humanly possible.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
The time stall really does come in on that execute, though, right? I mean, these operators are great for when the bomb's going to go down, but are they great at holding off a roam clear? Are they great at holding off that clear of the first floor? Suppose only time will tell in terms of exactly when these players choose to deploy that utility. The Shumika launcher from the Tachanka, it's not something we usually actually get to see in play and work. We have seen quite a few Tachanka attempts, for sure, but we just have not seen that utility be as effective as it has been designed to be. The smokes and the echo drones, now those, we know they work really well here, and it seems that we're not going to see them in the early round as expected. The only pressure being applied to this roam clear comes in the form of a little bit of aggression. Fish, we saw him just a moment ago, attempt to go for that swing onto that AC balk, or the mining balk, but he wasn't able to get a kill there. Only a little bit of intel to guide the team, but for now, he's backed off on the site to join all 5 members of this defense in turtling up and waiting for Waverunners to make the first move.
Waverunners are going to start to work that vert. Niccolo having plenty of time to do so. I mean, no roam means they can just take those top 2 floors for free. A minute 35 left in the round, and he's already opened up above like half the site. He's just going to continue to do so. There's still the Rotaro drones from Vena as well, so if there's any utility on the site, such as those 2 shields from Bear and Vivid, he can clear them, pretty much unabated unless his drones get shot. He's even still got 2 more in his back pocket. A couple C4s, the one C4 from Giddy will narrowly miss, but fortunately not do too much damage. So, Late Registration right now, they're really going to be relying on this Echo, the Smoke, and the Tachanka. Like I had said, they're allowing Waverunners to set up. Their plan is to disrupt the execute phase, and Fish playing on bottom red. He'll get the first pick of the round onto Lovely before the execute can even start to come down. So that's -1 player who can cover an angle for this attack. And when you've got so much denial on the defense, that's a factor that's extremely important. And unfortunately, Nicola will catch the rotate of Vivid, but had a nade in his hand, meaning the smoke will not be killed. Vena is tentatively thinking about dropping that hatch, but there's not enough coverage from his teammates in order to do so as the Chanka continues to delay the bottom white push. Scams worried about the player in VIP. He's going to start to wade through the bar, but again, here's that fire from the Tachanka. Vivid finds Silent. It's a 3 versus 5. The player with Diffuser. Vena, he's got to drop this hatch. The Hibana's just going to push straight through the fire, though. He'll get 1 frag before he's traded out. Vena finds the smoke inside the site, but again, the Echo drones are still left up. He's going to try and rush over towards Prep, planting right behind the window. The Sludge has to cover, but the Bear will win the first fight, not the second, but it doesn't matter as the time has run out. And even if there was more, the Jaeger was right behind to confirm the final kill. Late registration, although it was a little bit more harrowing than I think they would have hoped, put themselves on match point.
I love when we see a defense like that, Harrison. I mean, it shows the confidence that this team has to not really put much pressure at all into a roam aside for the first 30 seconds. They shot a couple of drones, they got back to site, and they said, you know what? We know how to hold this. We're just going to sit back and wait for Waverunners to do something. They gave them control of mining and train within 60 seconds. The vertical play began so early in the round, generally setting up the attack for a successful push. But what they didn't give Waverunners, late registration, what they didn't give to them was first floor control. They held every position, Big Bakery, co-check reception, and VIP until the closing moments of that round. I doubted the ability to compound the smoke, the Shumika launcher, and the Yokai drone to deny that first floor clear, but man, I was wrong. They used it so perfectly. Tachanka holding VIP and locking off that white stairs push. You had the lock off over in Big Bakery. It just was so well done all around, and they didn't do anything ridiculously fancy. They simply waited, and it paid off big. They now move ahead to match point, and I don't really doubt they're going to take it in one round or the next.
It's tough right now for Waverunners. The only attack they've been successful on through the past 2 was when they were allowed to blitz in. And as soon as late registration, we're like, hey, they're low on time. They might do that again. They successfully stalled. I definitely agree. I love seeing defenses like that from late registration. I mean, it seemed like every single bit of utility fell into place, especially that Chanka. I mean, sure, Scams eventually just pushed right through it and killed the Chanka, but that's because he had to. I mean, how much time did the Chanka delay from forcing the Hibana to just sit there and wait the fire out? No more Chanka this round, though. It's a much more aggressive lineup from late registration, bringing the Aruni, the Mozzie, the Jaeger, and Vivid on the mute. Bathroom wall completely reinforced off, as this is a reading defense. The freezer wall also completely electrified, and Giddy playing inside of freezer itself, not all the way back towards Cocktail. Late registration want to make sure that they're meeting Waverunners head on, because the more you push back against Waverunners, it seems like the longer they delay.
We'll see what they can make happen here. You try to get a little bit of pressure from above, or at least identify what you're dealing with, but I don't think Fish has been spotted out at all. There's a player right next to him. Silent walks right on up. Silent, perfect in that situation, but Giddy is quick to find the trade, but a near disaster for late registration is a good bit of intel that they were looking to have also went by the wayside here. Giddy is now going to take up a similarly aggressive position, just trying to swing on this new Balk angle, not letting anyone make that entry into that long bar. But right now, Waverunners are postured and ready to take control of this top floor. Keep in mind, this is a second floor defense. This is reading and dining, and they still have a long way to go, but getting those 2 kills on Vivid and Giddy, who overstayed their welcome, that is going to certainly change things up. Arrow and Bear now have to hold this back on their own, but here comes Lovely on a little bit of a flank from Dining. Cuts down Bear, leaving Arrow alone against 4. He'll take the fight with Lovely, but not even shoot back, as Lovely will get a good spray through the wall and finish off that round for Waverunners. They recover something, and they take their third round.
Yeah, well played from Waverunners, especially that initial pick from Silent. Just kind of crouch walking and creeping himself in, and then the held angles from the flank watch. Scams watching through the hatch, getting Vivid. Lovely, just prone inside of Train, finding the rotating player in the 4 versus 2. Seemed like Waverunners, how do I say this? It seems like they had a much better idea of what they wanted to do. Like they really had a direction on that roam clear. Because they were actually faced with one this time, and they handled it really well. Better intel game, I think, all around as well. But they've still got 3 more to go. They got to win 3 attacks without breaking the streak. Well, 3 more, 4 in total. And now, late registration, they're gonna go back to bar. Waverunners won this attack last time, if we all remember, thanks to a hot reach into heaven and a flood into the long bar. Registration, though, if it gets down to it once again, I'm sure we'll be prepared for it and won't be fooled again.
Yeah, we're going to see more intel now coming out from this side of the defense late registration. They're going to bring out those evil eyes in the hands of Fish. Of course, he's got the Alda as well, so a good bit of fragging power in his hands as always, but this intel definitely will assist with some of the problems they had in that last round. They're not going to pull out those yokai drones. They're not going to go with that same strategy we saw from them on their kitchen defense, but this is something that is a bit more standard for this top floor compared to what we saw in the previous round. On the side of Waverunners, they are once again going to be pulling out the Flores, a staple that both of these teams have been rocking now for many different rounds. And Vena is going to be the one to uphold or really take control of those Rotero drones. We'll see how they begin this clear, but I suspect it'll look a lot like that previous round in their initial entry over towards this red stairs position, and they'll clear their way through Piano. Doesn't look like anyone is actually positioned over in Pixel, over there in that corner by the White Hall. They do have a couple of drones to, ADSs rather, the drone coming in from Vena to I guess gain some intel. I think that was the design. It didn't have enough time to actually get to that shield in the bathroom, so wasted there in terms of utility denial, but they did get some intel to work with. They know kind of what they're dealing with in Pixel and in bathroom, but now it comes down to actually taking care of that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was designed just for info, or maybe the Aruni in the hallway, he got scared that the drone was going to be shot and just let it off a little bit too early, but second go around will be successful. So Barry's going to get flushed out of bathroom, but the white flank watch is not going to catch him. Scams can't hit the shot and react in time, so it's a clear, it's a position, but it's no kill. And there's a minute 25 remaining in the round for Waverunners to play with. Still a bulletproof camera up, and Bear is actually not abated at all. He's just going to sit inside a bathroom, and he's going to deal a hell of a lot of damage to Niccolo. Light up the sledge to just about 1 shot's worth of HP before finally falling back to pallets and giving up Pixel completely. Niccolo, though, oh no, he got downed, I think, by the Evil Eye, and is actually going to kill himself because he was holding a nade. That is so unfortunate. Good on Fish for being able to catch out that low HP sledge. And there's 55 seconds remaining. It's a 1-man lead for late registration, and now the gas canisters are coming out from Vivid as well. He's still got 2 more in the back pocket. Silent has exhausted some of his utility, and in fact, all of it's going to be gone as he's dead inside the White Hall, but here's a flank. Crouch walking up White is going to be lovely. He'll find 1 kill. It doesn't look like Silent is going to be recovered by Scam, so this is effectively still going to be a 4v3, but there's a flank in response from Arrow. He'll find 2, and Fish and Bear find the others, and late registration are going to end this match early with a 7-3 victory to start their season off with